Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So now that Black Panther Wakanda Forever is out, people are starting to wonder when are we going to see the mutants and the X-Men pop up in the MCU. So I thought we'd take some time just to kind of go over some of the possibilities and theories and everything about where and when the X-Men might be able to show up in the MCU. So in the movie Black Panther Wakanda Forever, they confirm that Namor is a mutant, and we already have confirmed that Kamala Khan, aka Miss Marvel, is also a mutant. Now, in the comics, Namor was a mutant, but in the comics, Kamala Khan was an Inhuman instead. But because Kevin Feige wants nothing to do with the Inhumans, he instead made her a mutant, which actually does not make any sense with how they already explained her powers in the show, but they've confirmed she is a mutant. We also saw the return of Patrick Stewart as Professor X in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So I do think that they are slowly introducing us to the idea of mutants. Now, I know in the upcoming Captain America New World Order movie, we're going to get another character from the comic who's a mutant, Sabra, and we might even learn some more stuff. Maybe we'll have to wait and see. I think Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania is going to really kind of have big repercussions on where the MCU goes after that, so we'll have to wait and see for that. So I do think that Marvel has Phase 4, 5, and 6, known as the Multiverse Saga. I do think that's what they're going to focus on, but they're going to slowly kind of introduce the idea of mutants sprinkled out across that. And we know we're getting Deadpool 3, and the big speculation is that Deadpool is going to use that movie to jump into the MCU somehow, whether he's from a different multiverse and comes into the MCU proper universe. It's possible that in that movie they can bring the mutants over that way and the X-Men characters through the Deadpool 3 movie, because we also know Hugh Jackman's returning as Wolverine in that movie as well, so that's definitely a possibility, and I think that movie will be in Phase 6. So I think in Phase 4, Phase 5, we're kind of just going to sprinkle in the idea, and then Deadpool 3 will kind of add a little bit more, and we probably will even get the mutants maybe in Avengers Secret Wars. I'm assuming, because I've heard that they really want to make it like the biggest spectacle they can make it with as many Marvel characters as they can. So I suspect that Deadpool might bring over the X-Men characters. We might see them show up in Avengers Secret Wars. And then I think after Phase 6 is over, I think that's when we're going to get the sort of X-Men saga part of the MCU. That's when I think we're going to get all these characters and the mutants and everything showing up in Marvel. So it's still probably years away. I don't think we should be expecting to see any big X-Men characters pop up anytime soon. Again, I think they're just kind of laying the groundwork by saying some of these characters are mutants and kind of just slowly introducing the idea that way. Now, in the MCU, everybody has superpowers already. I mean, if they don't have their own Iron Man suit, their super soldier serum running around, and, She-Hulk got gamma radiation from her cousin, and everybody has superpowers. So, making X-Men sort of different and unique from that, I think, is going to be the challenge. And because in the comics, the mutants are sort of treated, it's a whole metaphor for like racism and discrimination. They don't like mutants. They want to get rid of the mutants. And I think in the comics, mutants are people who were born with the X gene, and that gives them superpowers, and they're known as Homo sapiens superior, and they're seen as the next evolutionary stage of Homo sapiens. So normal people feel kind of threatened by them. And I think that could be where they draw the line of the difference between people who were given superpowers or created their own superpowers with the supersuits and everything, and people who were born mutants and have superpowers, which is something that is uncontrollable and unregulated. Like we saw, they were trying to control superheroes with the Sokovia Accords in Captain America Civil War. So I think that's possibly a route that they could take when it comes to introducing mutants in the X-Men, if they want to keep that sort of comic book history of the X-Men being, you know, outcasts in society and stuff. That's still a way I think they could go, but they would still have to explain why people hate mutants with superpowers, but they love people with superpowers like Captain America and stuff. But I think that's one way they could go, is they could really kind of dive into mutants are the next, you know, evolutionary gene, and they're born this way, and that threatens our society in some way. That could be something interesting. So I don't think we're going to see any of that, at least until after Marvel Phase 6, because like I said, there's still a lot of movies to come out between then, and there's even a lot of unknown movies in Phase 6 as well. There's a lot of empty slots that they have slated, and I think one of those is probably Deadpool 3, and it's, you know, possible. I think Armor Wars is going to be one of those movies. Might get a Shang-Chi 2, Eternals 2, but there's still some more slots, and it's possible we could get maybe introduced to more X-Men type characters in those other movies, just kind of leading up to Avengers Secret Wars. But I suspect we won't really deal with the X-Men until after Avengers Secret Wars. And so far in the MCU, they did say that Namor is a mutant. He calls himself a mutant, and it's what gives him the pointy ears and the little wings. But in the movie, spoilers for the movie, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, Namor's mother was pregnant with him when she drank the herbal tea that had the vibranium in it, and so he was born infused with vibranium, like his skin is enhanced with vibranium. So I think that makes him stronger of a character, gives him more powers, but it also kind of tells me that would he have been born a mutant if she hadn't drank the vibranium herb? Or, I mean, I know that he is a mutant in the comics, and that's fine, but when you start to change their origin and histories like that, you get into these complicated things of, well, which came first? Was it the vibranium that caused his DNA to genetically mutate, and that's why he's a mutant? Or if he didn't ever have the vibranium, would he have still been born a mutant? And so the same thing kind of happens with Kamala Khan, in that she's the descendant of a Jinn who comes from the Noor dimension, and we thought the bangle is what unlocks her powers. And that's great. That's all we needed to know. But then they complicate it by saying, oh, but she's also a mutant. Okay, well, is it the DNA of her Jinn ancestor that caused her to have the mutant gene? Or what would her mutant power be? I mean, because it would be really complicated if her mutant power is the fact that it allows the bangle to unlock her gene powers. That doesn't make any sense. So I think it really complicated Kamala Khan's character by saying she's also a mutant. I think they said they did it because they wanted to say that her brother didn't have the powers and whatever. I don't think that's at all necessary, because Cameron did not have powers either until his mother gave him powers. So I don't think you need to explain it. She has the bangle, that unlocks the powers, that's it. But what is her mutant gene then? What does that do? And so when they kind of give these characters these extra things of their mutant, but they also have this, it really kind of muddies their power sets and why are they a mutant to begin with. And I really hope that going forward in the MCU, we don't do that with any more of the mutant characters. They're just mutants. They were just born that way. They're not enhanced with vibranium or the descendant of a genie or whatever. So that's kind of my only concern so far. I hope that the MCU can kind of figure out how mutants work into the society and everything. And I just worry that it might not, because Phase 4 was not great. I'm hoping Phase 5 is going to be better, but I don't have super amount of confidence, and they're just throwing so many concepts at us right now that I really hope they don't muddy the waters on what mutants are and the X-Men and everything. So that's kind of where I think the MCU is right now in terms of the X-Men and how they're handling mutants. I think they're going to finish out Phase 6 and kind of close out a lot of the core MCU characters that we have right now, and then moving forward after that, they might focus more on the X-Men characters. But like I said, I think they're going to sprinkle it out across Phase 5 and 6, they're going to sprinkle in some more mutants and some more characters, possibly some recasted characters of the X-Men. I'm not sure if they're going to bring back, other than Wolverine, I'm not sure if they're going to bring back any other of the actors that have already played characters from the X-Men movies. So I just think they're going to just start recasting those roles. But anyway, so those are my thoughts for the X-Men and the mutants going forward in the MCU. Let me know what you guys think. Are you guys excited about it? I gotta say, I'm not a huge X-Men fan. I do enjoy the movies because the movies are a lot of fun. I've never seen the animated show. I don't read the comics. And I think the MCU has done a great job so far with most of their characters that I feel like we don't even really need to bring in the X-Men. They could just stay in their own separate universe. But I definitely think they will bring in the X-Men, and so I'm just curious about how they're going to do it and if it's going to work with what they've already established within the MCU. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video and subscribe to the channel for more reviews and more thoughts on Marvel. Thank you. Bye.